Welcome to another episode of Root Speak. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it very much. My name is Dwayne, and this channel is about giving you news and analysis for Black communities around the world. And with that, let's get straight into it. This is episode 4, by the way, for Root Speak. We're going to start off with the Liberian elections that actually happened a little over a week ago, about a week ago, on the 10th of October. We're now at the 7th. It's been a very tight race. It's been hard fought, very tight race between the incumbent president, George Weah, and the former vice president, Joseph Boakai. As you can see here, it's, like I said, it's about a week since the elections. There's still counting going on, and it's very close. As you can see, Weah there has 43.8, and Boakai has 43.54. This is as of October 16, 2023. So the rules basically in Liberia is that you need to get 50% in order to be elected president. So in this case, you can see both are quite far away from that. It's already been a week, 8 days, and we still have no winner announced. But the rules are after 15 days after the election, the results should be announced. So it started on the 10th. So on the 25th of October, we can expect the final results. If nobody has 50%, then there's a runoff that's going to take place on November 7th. So we're definitely going to be watching the Liberian elections very closely. The next story I wanted to look at is this one: Black Miss Israel attacks Black Lives Matter. Let's take a look at this. She says here that the National Black Beauty Queen, I believe she won Miss Israel back in 2013, blasted the Black Lives Matter movement for not taking a stand against Hamas after the terrorist designated organization attacked the country. Okay. The Ethiopian Beauty says American advocates for Black victims of police brutality need to learn their facts regarding the Middle East conflict. This story, I think I highlighted this story because I'm a little confused. Why is it so important for her to get Black Lives Matter to comment on this? She's upset that they didn't take a stand against Hamas. It's very baffling to me. I mean, I think most people, except maybe Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas, everybody else, definitely did not agree with what Hamas did. If the stories are true, the stories have been reported of rapes and killings and beheadings or whatever it is, kidnapping. If those things happened, and I have no reason to believe they haven't, they've been reported, then I don't think there's anybody except for those three people I just mentioned earlier that would actually, feel that there was nothing right about what Hamas did, the attack and what they did and everything like that. Everybody totally condemns it. The issue is the response by the Israeli government. And I think that is what a lot of people are starting to look at and say, well, look, is this response proportionate? So again, Black Lives Matter, I mean, does it speak for Black people? I don't think so. I think a lot of people agree with the sentiment of Black Lives Matter, but with the organization itself, I wouldn't say that it speaks for Black people or all Black people. No, I mean, I just don't understand. What I would say to this Miss Israel, this beauty queen, is that she should be concerned about what's African countries, because she is of African descent. She's Ethiopian, of Ethiopian descent. What are the Africans saying about what's happening in Gaza and the situation with the Palestinians and the Israelis? That should be the thing that she should be taking care, she should be looking at, in my opinion. And what do we see when we do look at that? Well, we see, quite frankly, a disproportionate response by Israel. So the Southern African Litigation Center, known as the SALC, has called upon 33 African states that are members of the International Criminal Court to lobby for a full ICC investigation into the reports of grave human violations and war crimes in Gaza. Okay, so this is what African countries are starting to rally against. Okay, this call has already been endorsed by dozens of African countries and organizations as well as individuals. The South African foreign minister, for example, has come out to speak against it. And why are they speaking against it? Well, a lot of the reason is because of what the defense minister has said. And if we look here, the Israeli defense minister, Yoav Gallant, what did he say? I have ordered a complete siege on the Gaza Strip. There will be no electricity, no fuel, no food. Everything is closed. And I think, I don't have the quote here, but he actually went on to describe the people in Gaza as animals, and really that type of language, let me just read what the SALC said. Such dehumanizing language has often preceded the crime of genocide in the past and has served as a catalyst for further atrocities. So you can see here that they're very serious about this, and as of October 17th, you've had over 3,000 Palestinians, civilians that have been killed. You have about 1,400, 1,500 Israeli citizens that have been killed. You have thousands upon thousands who've been injured, and God knows how many have been displaced particularly in Gaza. So it is a very serious situation. People have to realize and understand that the people of Gaza have been under occupation since 1948. They've never known a day of freedom since 1948, and that's why, as you can see right here, the defense minister can say something like, we're going to cut off the electricity, we're going to cut off the food, the fuel, everything, because Israel controls that aspect. Because they're under occupation, and Israel controls those basic necessities that every human being should have. So this is serious, and I do feel that the sentiment against Israel is turning. I think a lot of countries are coming out now and saying that, hey, look, hold on, we understand you've been hurt. Nobody supports that. That was very bad. But this response is very troubling. It's very emotional, in my opinion. Okay, that's Israel and Gaza. Now we're going to look at a story that I followed on episode 3, which is a story I've been trying to follow up on. And it's quite an interesting story. As you can see here, Tyler Perry, right? The writer, producer, director, buys home for 93-year-old woman. And who's this woman? This is a woman, as I said, I featured in the last episode, called Josephine Wright. And she has been in a battle to fight for her land. So let me get so she's facing a lawsuit from the Bailey Point Investment Group. And they are suing her for encroachment, saying that part of her land, or a good portion of it, is encroaching upon their own land, I guess. Funnily enough, they actually offered her $30,000 for 1.8 acre land, which she refused. And of course, now she's being sued. So she's been in this battle. She continues to be in this battle. She started a GoFundMe page. And you can see here in the GoFundMe page that she was after $350,000. She managed to raise 363, as you can see right here. And then Down here, you can see Kyrie Irving gave 40,000. I believe Snoop Dogg gave 10,000. There were others who came to Fantasia, I believe, and others. So she's doing pretty well, I think. That is, let me just get rid of this. So that's pretty good with the GoFundMe. So if anyone wants to donate, you can go there. All the links are in the description. But as the headline says, Tyler Perry has gone ahead and bought her a home in South Carolina. I believe it's a 5-bedroom home in South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. And I think, I'm only speculating, but obviously I think that was a good thing to do because, she's gonna, she's in this battle. She may in fact lose this battle. She may in fact have to lose all the land or part of the land. I'm sure she'll be compensated for it, but at least now she has this home that Tyler Perry has invested in and is building for her. And I think that's wonderful. And again, this is a very good example of Black Americans, in this case, coming together and supporting one another. I think this is a very important issue, the land issue, particularly in Black America or in America with Black people. The land issue has always been historically a very iffy thing. Black people have lost a lot of the land that they had after the Civil War, even though it wasn't what they were supposed to get, but they were still able to get a little bit of land after the Civil War. And basically, since that time until now, African Americans have lost an incredible amount of land. So I think this is a very important story, and we're going to continue to follow it. And, we wish her all the best. Moving on now to Zimbabwe. Well, Zimbabwe has recently, a couple of days ago, declared itself self-sufficient in potato production. And I think this is a very good example of where I think African countries need to be thinking. Now, just to give you a little backdrop on this, Zimbabwe has been under very tough sanctions all the way back to 2010. And as a result of being under such a regime, under such a condition, it has forced them to really look within themselves and look inside and make investments in their people. And that's what they've done. And right now, they've declared potato as a strategic crop for Zimbabwe, something that is vital for the country. And now they are self-sufficient in it. And I think this is a very good example for African countries and all Black countries outside of Africa to really follow and do. That even though something as bad as sanctions happened, it forced Zimbabweans and Zimbabwe to be more creative, to rely more on their local industries, to support their local industries. And I think this is a very, very good feeling as well. Moving on to Uganda, we can see that Ugandan coffee is doing very well. It's expected, I believe, this year to grow by 4%.
The rightful temperature, it will be
if I'm not mistaken. Let me just make sure that's correct. Yes.
So here,
and it accounts for approximately 5% of Russian coffee imports. That is an increase over the last 3 or 4 years as well. So Ugandan coffee is making its way even into the developing countries, or rather developed countries.
And also as we continue to see
this has made Uganda now the 8th largest
this is
producer
the most sensitive part of how to
so that is
make sure you do it right.
Really quite interesting. I hope you guys could hear me. This coffee video is probably a little bit too loud. Let's bring it down a little bit.
In Uganda locally, we do
so that's really good. And also in Uganda, going more on the tech side, we can see that Uganda students, secondary school science students, this was a science project, And here they showcased a self-powering motorcycle that they built, which does not require fuel to move, and it does have a fitted battery, and apparently it recharges itself as one keeps riding it. So it kind of sounds like a sort of hybrid motorcycle. And they said they've done 100 kilometers in it. It changes gears automatically, and it took them about a month to assemble the materials, which they said were mainly scrap materials to reduce the cost of parts and assembly. So, yeah, I know. Gosh, that's really good. I think that Africa, it has a very large young population, and this is very good to see young people be encouraged to invent, to create. I think this is very powerful, and I definitely like stories like this, and I'll always feature stories like this on this channel. I think this is very positive indeed. Also on the tech side, coming back to the United States, we have John Legend. His tech startup raises $5 million in its sort of first round of funding for an app that he's created with Mike Rosenthal, as you see there in the picture. The name of the app is called It's Good. It's a social app. It provides its users with personalized food and travel recommendations from their social circles, making it a future competitor with the likes of Yelp and Google Reviews, for example. Users already include Jessica Alba, NBA player Harrison Barnes, and restaurateur David Chang. It also includes a number of travel writers and restaurant critics, according to the article that in the Wall Street Journal. So that's good on John Legend. Let's see what becomes of it. Another interesting thing is this story, right? New Montgomery Riverboat Brawl curriculum. I don't know whether you guys remember. I think I have some footage here.
Witnesses, most, if not all
about
of them
early August, I believe. This was the Montgomery Riverboat Brawl that broke out, that went viral across the internet. It was very interesting to say the least. I'm not going to go through the whole story, but you can see some of the footage there. It kind of got violent, it got racial, etc., etc. And I think these two black professors from Alabama State University, Dr. Linda Holloway, as well as, let me just get them back on the screen there, Dr. Linda Holloway, as well as Dr. April Barry, have developed a curriculum in response to a viral brawl at Riverfront Park in Montgomery, Alabama on August 5th. The curriculum aims to facilitate meanful discussions about the incident involving the assault of senior deckhand Damian Pickett by white boaters who refused to relocate their boat. And like I said, it went viral. But the event sparked many emotions across the internet, across social media. And these two women realized that there was a space, or there was a need to discuss this, where people could discuss this issue, because, there's a lot of implications, historical implications here. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, it went sort of racial, So this was something that does need to be discussed. I certainly believe that, especially students. So I commend them for coming up with this curriculum. I'll be looking at it and, looking forward to see what exactly is involved in the curriculum and how they're doing it, and some of the results that they've seen with the people who have taken, with the students, I guess, who have taken the curriculum, and that'll be interesting to follow up on. Okay, and with that, now we're just going to look at some of the events that are coming up in the next 30 days or so. We're going to start off first with the African Energy Week, which is going on right now. It started on the 16th of October. It goes on until the 20th. And this is a very interesting group or meeting. It is an exhibition, conference, an exhibition. It's going to be held in Cape Town, or rather it's going on right now in Cape Town, South Africa. The event will address crucial energy challenges, including providing electricity to over 600 million Africans who don't currently have electricity. So Africa is about 1.2 billion, almost 1.2 billion, maybe more, but it's around that area. So 600 million Africans, so 50% of Africans today in 2023 do not have access to electricity. So this is something that needs to be addressed. This is a serious challenge. In addition to that, 900 million Africans do not have access to clean cooking fuel. So the Africa Energy Week is set up to address these challenges, to bring people together, and most importantly, to bring investment and funding to some of these energy sectors that are very needed in Africa indeed. I want to this is a little bit of last year's Energy Week, 2022, just to give you a little idea. Again, it's going to be in South Africa. It's going on right now. I want to play a little video. I think it's really important, from the executive chairman of the African Energy Chamber, who's affiliated with this event. And he's talking a little bit about, what I mentioned earlier with energy and the challenges that Africa is facing as a continent with supplying energy to its people. So let's take a look at that. We'll put that on.
When the crisis in Ukraine broke out, Europe was in crisis. Europe used everything to get out of crisis. They came to South Africa to use coal out of South Africa. They used natural gas out of Africa. They had all the money to use solar panels everywhere, but they didn't. They realized that you need that base load energy in order to be able to drive the economy, drive their industries, their manufacturing facilities, their factories and everything, and keep their houses warm. But even with that, the price is still skyrocketed. Africa has to do the same. They even changed their rules on natural gas, and they said natural gas is green energy. Right now, natural gas according to the European Union is green energy. Nuclear is green energy. But that allowed their financial institutions to be able to finance that. But for Africa, no. We need to be able to call on the African Union, African institutions, to define natural gas as green energy so we can be able to finance it. It's the cleanest, friendliest fossil fuel out there that we can use. Imagine abundant natural gas in this continent. In Mozambique, that could go from 0 to the 3rd largest producer. Use that gas to power Africa. Use that gas to manufacture in Africa. But also, we go into Ukraine and Russia to beg for grain. What did the Ukrainians and Russians did? 20 years ago, they were net importers of grain. Now they export 30 years. We can use natural gas, drive up petrochemicals, power our agricultural facilities, produce grain in Africa so we don't have to go back for food from developed countries. But bigger than that, this transition is going to have to be driven by Africa. We are going to have to set up our own timelines, and we are going to have to use our own resources to do it. The idea that we have to wait to expect money, handouts, and foreign aid to get to the net zero is not going to happen. We need to be able to determine that and stop being the continent that is going to beg its way out of this transition. We should be able to finance our way out of this transition, look at young people, and drive innovation within this continent. There is success in this continent, and I believe that we can do it.
So I think that was, I hope you guys were able to pick up what he was saying. I think is a very important point, and I thoroughly recommend that you watch the entire interview. The links are in the description below, because I think it's very important. If you're in the energy sector anywhere in the world, you're Black, you're African, whatever, I think you need to plug into Africa Energy Week. Definitely, if anything, just for networking, but also to learn and see where the opportunities are in the future in terms of where the investments are going to be in. And according to him, he's really pushing for natural gas, and it makes sense. It is the cleanest fuel out there. You know what I mean? So I think that's very, very important point. Finally, we're just going to look at very briefly different events that are occurring in the next 30 days or so. So the first is the Black Travel Summit, as you see up there. That's on the 20th of October, and it goes on until the 22nd of October. And as you can see there, we support, empower, and create opportunities with and for the Black travel community, right? So you can see here, our goal is to champion and celebrate Black travelers, businesses, and career entrepreneurial professionals and creators alike, providing them a platform to connect with brands, share with peers, and grow in perpetuity. Okay. So this is very good. I mean, just for networking, as I say, if you're in the industry, you should definitely check it out. This is being held in, it's being held in Miami, Florida, right there. Tickets range from $25 to $1,500. I think obviously very good event for networking for Black people. So I hope you guys will check it out. We have the Afrotech conference, which is also coming up on the 1st of November. It's going right through until the 5th. This is being held in Austin, Texas. You see there's some performances there. Just some little speakers. Again, all the links to this is in the description, so you don't have to worry too much about it, and you can look at it. I just want to see student general admission, get tickets. There it is, Austin, Texas, on the 1st to the 5th of November, 2023. Yeah, that's it. What else do we have going on? We also have the annual Black-owned Small Business Expo, which is coming to Baltimore Saturday, November 25th, 2023. The annual Black-owned Small Business Expo. I mean, this is great, great for networking. So that's on the 25th. And then the Global Black Impact Summit, which I've featured a couple of times in previous videos, but it is also coming up on November 30th. And once again, the links are in the description, so you'll be able to check it out there. The Global Black Impact Summit is an extraordinary confluence of brilliant Black minds celebrating the achievements, insights, potential Black So definitely these events are coming up, and I hope you guys will be able to take advantage of it. And with that, that's it for this episode. For News, I want to thank you all once again for joining, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, be well and be safe. Take care.